Dan, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. This is one of my favorite things when I feel like I'm sitting on an interrogation chair with bright lights on my eyes and all I see are silhouettes, so I can't make out any of the faces. It really is a special honor and privilege to be with you all this evening. It's a terrific moment in Turkish-American relations. We know about the noise and the scratchiness and the loudness of Turkish democracy, which I think reflects great change and great resistance to change and great dynamism in a democratic polity that we're proud to have as a friend. And that reflects itself in our relations. But as one who has a long-term perspective, I see so much accomplishment behind us and so much that lies ahead. And so much that is due to great institutions as well as wonderful individuals who support this relationship. The partnership in Turkish-American relations that the American-Turkish Council has had with the Turkish sector, with TAİK, the Turkish-American Business Council, DAIC, the Overseas Business Council, has been one of the strongest strands, one of the strongest bonds in the relationship between Turkey and the United States. It's one, as a practitioner, I learned about back in the time of Ambassador Kandemir, actually. When I began my career, I saw how in those days when foreign relations were more government to government, the power of a private sector voice meant so much in the relationship. And there were not a lot of private sector voices then. There was Turkey bashing that happened in our country then. There was America bashing that happened in Turkey. Through all of this, Democratic administrations, Republican administrations, the American-Turkish Council has been a strong voice for the relationship, no matter who is in the White House, no matter who is controlling the Congress, whether it was Prime Minister Demirel, Prime Minister Ecevit, no matter who was in Çankaya, the American-Turkish Council has stood by this relationship and in strong partnership also with TAİK. And that is as true today with the group of Foreign Service officers that we welcomed a little while ago who are heading out to Turkey as it was when I was coming in. Let me thank the leadership of the American-Turkish Council, General Jim Jones. Good luck to you at the outset of your tenure, 6 months into it now. Jim Holmes, my old friend, the person I succeeded in Ankara in the 90s as Deputy Chief of Mission. Thank you for all of your heart and soul you've poured into this relationship and into this organization over these years. Canan, Ayşe, the wonderful interns here, everyone has put together this great event. Thanks, Dan, to Raytheon Cüneyt. It was a pleasure coming over in the airplane with you. Thank you for being our host this evening. It takes everybody's wholehearted commitment and generosity to make these things work. Ambassador Kilic, a friend and colleague, congratulations to you and good luck to you at the outset of your tenure. You will find that you'll have got many friends here, not only personally, but friends of Turkey in this country. No better friends than the American business community who are given voice by the American-Turkish Council. Thank you for your support and your presence here. I'm certain, Serdar, you'll make the kinds of friendships that Marie and I have made across your warm and wonderful country here in this country. Undersecretary Demir, thank you for coming and representing your government here and your business sector. We know you as a business person that knows American companies, that knows American business practices, that knows what business means. Business people have to understand politics and stay above it and work for the prosperity and benefit of both of our countries. You've got very high responsibilities in developing your defense industry. Nobody better than you to know it from the inside out. Your presence here means a lot to us, and thank you for coming this evening and for the whole conference. To all of you here in the room, you are the TAIC and the the American-Turkish Council. It is your generosity, your time, your commitment that is the organization and that sustains Turkish-American relations, as before. Haluk Bey, finally, thank you for jumping on that airplane with me tonight, and I look forward to saying goodbye to the Turkish-American business community, the Turkish community in Istanbul on Thursday, when TAIC was kind enough to bring together people even from outside your organization for me to say goodbye. I'm really delighted that the White House announcement has just came a few hours ago. I was in with Senator Menendez talking about relations with Turkey. Very clear that the chairman follows relations closely. He cares about it. He asked trenchant questions. And I learned from him, actually, that the White House announcement had come out for John Bass. John is a friend and colleague. He was an ambassador in the region, ambassador to Georgia during a tense standoff with the Russians. He served in Iraq as well. He sits at the right hand of Secretary Kerry. He's the one who wakes up Secretary Kerry in the middle of the night with bad news, usually, and is a very worthy successor. I'm delighted that he and his wife, who is also a diplomat, a Foreign Service officer, have been nominated. I hope that the Senate will confirm them very speedily. And finally, I'm particularly honored to have mentors here, people I've admired, people who, for me, showed the United States at its best in world leadership. General Scowcroft and Rich Armitage, thank you for coming tonight. I think often of you, and I think about world issues and how you would react to things, and the lessons I learned from you growing up in our public service. President Obama chose to go to Turkey, as everyone here knows, is his first overseas visit as president, to underline the importance of this relationship. The president understands and recognizes and always has emphasized the strategic importance. We're very different countries, far apart on the globe, different histories, different cultures, different ways of looking at problems, but so complementary in the way we fit, in our vital strategic interests. We can do things together that we cannot do separately, whether it's dealing with the horrors of the civil war in Syria, the unspeakable human suffering, nearly 1 million people by the most conservative estimates in Turkey alone seeking refuge from Syria, from the horrors there. Whether it's dealing with the Iranian threat of proliferation of nuclear weapons and looking for the success of those negotiations, whether it's trying to encourage the government in Baghdad and the Kurdish regional government to come to terms on exploiting their oil wealth, whether it's trying to stabilize the Eastern Mediterranean by pushing for a solution on Cyprus that will lead to greater strength, stability, and unlocking of the energy resources there. In all those truly vital national strategic interests, only through a partnership between Turkey and the United States will we both realize our objectives. We do that within NATO. We do that in concert with our friends in the European Union. We do that with our other friends in the region, the friends of the Syrian people. But at the heart of it is that bilateral connection between the two. That was important when I was 35, 36 years younger, at the height of the Cold War. It's even more important now, when the enemies are more disparate, where the situation is much more complex, where we have to constantly work to define the coalitions that we work with and pay attention. It's that Turkish-American connection that matters now more than ever. The President spoke when he went to Turkey of renewing the friendship between our peoples and the alliance between our nations. This is what it's about, the business community. It's people to people. It's everyday deals, everyday investments. It's conferences like this where we discuss common problems, where we meet in the corridors, where we take the time and the trouble to listen to each other. That's what the President meant by renewing the friendship, and that's what we're about tonight. Americans like ambition. One of the things we like about Turkey is that Turkey is ambitious. It has made it to the top 20. That's great, but it's not satisfied with that. Turkey wants to go farther and to be in the top 10. Americans believe that ambition is a necessary element, if not a sufficient one, in order to get anywhere, and we see that Turkey has that. We support Turkey's ambition to be a number 10 economy. We're talking actively together, as several speakers throughout the conference have mentioned. Deputy Prime Minister Babacan was just here last week with Minister of Economy Zeybekci, two world-class men of government and industry who know how the world economy works, meeting with American counterparts, Mike Froman, as we saw right up here, and Secretary Pritzker. Together, we're trying to cut through obstacles to trade and investment. We have the ambition, we have the plan, we have the determination, and with all of those, I'm very optimistic that we're going to do much more. In the past few years alone, we've seen the success of the endeavor together between Prime Minister Erdogan and the Obama administration. Just since President Obama took office, in fact, since you've taken office, Haluk, as head of TAIC, Turkish-U.S. trade has grown nearly 75% overall, both directions. Turkish exports to the United States have set a record last year at $6.7 billion and are on pace for another record this year. Over 1,000 American firms make Turkey their home. Sales have grown to over $12 billion last year, and 2014 looking just as strong as last year. But we all know that's not enough. We all know we can do much more, and those talks that we advanced again just last month are focusing on very specific ways in which we can do that. We all know a lot more needs to be done, but the determination is there. We're looking forward. Secretary Pritzker announced, for anyone who didn't hear it, that she is going to be going to Turkey in September as part of the President's Export Council with a group of American business leaders, and we'll be meeting with Turkish counterparts. So again, we'll be looking forward to TAIC's help with that, and it'll be something to celebrate together end of September, early October. So we're not giving up on Turkey. Anyone who thinks that the noise and the stuff out there in the Turkish media represents some kind of barometer of the relationship just don't see what I see from the inside. They don't see what I see, all the deals going on, the business partnerships, the really substantive official conversations that go on all the time. Maybe that doesn't make good copy or something, but it is happening, and I'm as optimistic now about the relationship as ever when I began. I could touch on a few other issues. I'd be glad. Jim, we didn't get a chance to talk on the way in whether you wanted to do questions and answers. I'd rather keep this short. But in all those areas, so many areas, Turkey and the United States are meeting at the top levels and at every intermediate level. Our embassy handles visits from Congress, visits of assistant secretaries, visits of cabinet members. These don't all make the media in Turkey, but they're happening all the time. And the premise is solving problems and identifying opportunities. We're doing that all the time. And I'm very confident that we're going to keep on doing it. Investors know this. People who know Turkey and know Turkish-American relations see that there are opportunities there. Yes, there are threats. Yes, there are issues. There's instability in the region, but Turkey is sort of the southeast corner of the Euro-Atlantic community, set of values, aspirations, ambitions, where we speak a common language of business, of democracy, of human rights. We debate questions of, the limits of freedom of expression in a time when there's new media all over the place. What are the limits of privacy, protections of privacy, protections of government secrecy? versus the citizens' right to know versus freedom of expressions. There's lots and lots of debate about that in Turkey, and Turkey will figure out for itself what the left and right limits are, just as every country has to do. I don't believe that Turkey faces any risks of going backward. The only question in my mind is how far will Turkey advance and how quickly. I think any of us who's been tracking Turkey as long as I have been pretty pleased and impressed, particularly in the past decade or decade and a half, and how far it's come. Past performance is no guarantee of future success, as we all know in business, but still, it gives us grounds to assess the assets that are there and the advantages that Turkey has. One of those great advantages is Turkish-American friendship and alliance. That's enduring, and I don't see any threats to that. I've got all kinds of other examples of successes we've had in the past year. I think most people in this room are part of those. We've seen Boeing deliver the Peace Eagle. I was there for that. The Prime Minister was kind enough to come for that. We've seen a huge generational Sikorsky deal completed. That was a great effort. That's going to keep Turkish and American business people, engineers, working together closely for another generation, not only for the benefit of Turkish national defense, but for export as well. We see the F-35 prospering with 2 aircraft, and that means no doubt many more. There's a lot of co-manufacture there. We're still hoping for the long-range air and missile defense system to work out. We believe the American proposal has not only life in it, but is extremely competitive. We believe that's strategically important and remains a possibility. Calais Pratt & Whitney is going to be opening a factory on Friday at Esbaş. Mr. Izmirli is here from Esbaş. I wish I could be there on Friday. I was there for the laying of the cornerstone. On and on. General Electric. I was there when Mr. Immelt announced the new engine deal that's going on with TEI in Eskişehir, TUSAŞ, THY expanding service to Boston, on and on and on and on and on. So there is momentum in this relationship, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone who suggests that there are problems, yeah, sure, there's issues, there's discussions, there's criticisms, but there's so much to work with. And there's so much to be achieved still ahead that as I leave, I'm entirely optimistic that we're going to achieve ever greater things ahead. But only provided the level of commitment is sustained between not just our 2 governments and our various political parties and institutions, but all of us here. That the individual company relationships and relationships by organized voices of business, like the American-Turkish Council, continue their efforts, their strong leadership that they've enjoyed all these years, the commitment of the members, the commitment of Tayyip and your constituent members. I'm certain all that's going to be there, but it is necessary that they be there. That's the only way we'll continue to succeed. With that, let me close. Thank you all very much for the warm friendship and support you've shown to Marie and me all these years. The wonderful history we've seen together, and it's not over yet. Marie and I plan to come back often and stay in close touch with all of you and with our many friends across the country. Thank you very much.